evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to the One Perspective to Another podcast. I am your humble, gracious, highly favored host, A.Sanders, here for episode 96 of the One Perspective to Another podcast. We are available on all podcast platforms. Shout out to Town Business. We are on Spotify. We are on Anchor. We are on Google. We are on any place, anywhere that you can listen to podcasts. And this is a special episode. This is a episode dedicated to the mothers of the world and also the people who we have lost recently. It has been a very emotion-filled past week. I guess you can blame it on the moon. Just different type of vibe going on right now in the world. But just in general, for the world, for me, everything. This is I don't even know how to describe this podcast. I guess you can say it's an open podcast. It's a perspective podcast. It's an impact podcast. But wherever we go, that's where we'll go. On this episode, dedicating this to the mothers of the world, is Mother's Day. Shout out to Teachers Week. It's also Mental Health Awareness Month. Then talking about dealing with frustration. And then AHMAUD Arbery, the sad story that just keeps getting more and more into people's hearts and into people's world, and recognizing things. Then the new normal, going back to life after lockdown, and then just the perspective of it all to end it all, I guess you could say. But first, getting into it, it's Mother's Day. Whenever you're listening to this, it's probably in the week. Whenever you listen to the podcast, wherever you are in the world, it's probably Mother's Day has already passed. So shout out and salute to all of those mothers that are listening too as well. This is dedicated to you, but I also want to bring the perspective of others who are mothers, who don't have mothers, who just going down a list is literally just the perspectives of how different people feel on Mother's Day. The people who have tragic, toxic relationships with their mothers. The people who are in those toxic relationships and can't get out and have been either on the good side of growing up or the bad side of growing up, still being affected by their mothers till this day in a positive and a negative way. But still just persevering through it all to be able to be a good human being and a good child despite the circumstances that were brought upon you. Not every mother is going to be able to be that cookie cutter mother and just do everything right. There are people who are not as fortunate as others, and that's the real perspective of things that I want us to talk about today for Mother's Day. Also, the perspective of mothers who have lost children, infant children especially, dealing with that grief, that pain. I know it could be extremely difficult, especially when it's something that you have or had with you, carried, nurtured. That kind of grief is something that is just beyond words. And the next perspective is the people, women, obviously, who don't have the ability to give birth to a child anymore. That's another version of, I want to say, Mother's Day, where they don't always have the, I don't want to say the wrong words, but the right amount of emotion and being capable of coming to grips or grasping that can be very difficult. So giving them love and support today too. And any other ones that I missed, those are ones that I know of and have been in contact with and gone down those roads. Just people losing your mother early in general. circumstances that didn't allow you to know your mother, dealing with trauma that you never had a mother in your world. Maybe you were raised just by your father. It's just the perspective of Mother's Day hitting people a lot differently. It's not just one end all be all. Take this universal cure for your illness for Mother's Day. It's a lot of different people out there in the world who are grieving today, who are crying today, who are happy today, who are getting flowers for their mothers today, who love their mothers, who have gone to the world, into the world and back with their moms. Just a lot of different perspectives. I want to shine light on the good and the bad, not just the good, because it's more than just the good people in the world who are sitting at home, especially being quarantined right now, just thinking about Mother's Day. So shed some light on those people who aren't in the best of spirits, who aren't in the best of moods right now. It's been that full moon vibe, and we'll get into that shit too. But just a shout out and a salute, and a shout out and salute to the mothers who are doing their best, the mothers who are doing above and beyond, who are superwomen to their child, to their children, the soon-to-be moms, the moms who about to be moms from quarantine. Shout out to y'all too. We appreciate you more than you know. Give them all praise. Give them all a salute. Give them all your love. Give them your time. Make sure you recognize that they are the end all be all, and you gotta put some respect on their names, because you don't want to be on the opposite side of that spectrum. Then next, it's been Teacher Appreciation Week. I know quite a few teachers. Just want to give them their shine and say thank you for putting up with bullshit and dealing with shit that you're not supposed to have to deal with, but you still choose to do it anyway. A shout out and salute to the ones who go above and beyond, because they're caring for somebody's child and they are giving them knowledge, giving them well-being, giving them pieces of themselves as teachers, making them better, giving them advice, giving them love, giving them caring. It's almost like a second parent to some people. We all had the teachers that make the impact in our lives. I know I have a few teachers in my world who still to this day affect me in a positive way. Hundreds of stories still shape my life to this day. So everybody always asks a generic question. I want to be perspective driven today and actually talk about the real shit. And you always see it in the movies or on TV shows, how they always talk about, I don't even remember my professor or my teacher or my daycare teacher, whatever you want to call it. But for some people, it's actually real. And they affect your lives, because it's not just somebody that teaches you something out of a book. It's somebody that gives you their time. It's somebody who gives you their soul, in a sense. It's like playing sports and you got a coach that really sees potential in you. It's not all teachers, but some teachers do that, and those are the teachers that we gotta give a little extra to and make sure that they doing all right. Not saying that all teachers aren't like that and etc. But like I said, I'm bringing all perspectives. There are those few that go above and beyond, and those are the people who should really be recognized while they're at home dealing with their own world, their own fuckery going on in their lives, and still giving up everything they got to get up in the morning when they don't want to, when they in pain, when they hurting, when they ain't got no money, when they not getting paid enough, when they got every reason to say, nah, fuck them kids, but they still get up and still go do what they got to do to make sure that your child is being taken care of. So yeah, shout out and salute to all the teachers out there in the world. Just want to say thank you. It's been a amazing journey to see or go full circle, being a child to being an adult, and seeing the teachers along the way. So just want to say thank you for that. And then next, I want to talk about dealing with frustration in kind of a mix of just dealing with issues or always having it be something. Because sometimes we have those people, or even ourselves, where it's the explanation or the reason to call them for what they are is that it's always something going on. Or like it's always something wrong. It's always this, it's always that, and it's always an issue. The underlying problem is not dealing with whatever is ailing them in the first place. Because we all have that person or that friend or that family member where you hit them up. It's like, oh, I need this, I need that. This happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. I can't do this, I can't do that. It's almost in the sense where you want to say it's almost a toxic kind of person in your world. And maybe it is to a certain degree. But when you look on it from a different perspective, as always, trying to keep the perspective going, that person is probably just not being alert and aware of their own individual boundaries that they are setting with themselves. Obviously, or 9 times out of 10, they're running away from something that is hurting them or not giving them the best environment to thrive in. Sometimes the way people deal with frustration isn't even getting angry or just being like, fuck you, get out my face, leave me alone. It's creating more drama. It's self-sabotaging themselves so they can be the victim, to be seen, or to be in a situation where they need help, where they don't have to do, where they just use you. It's almost a real narcissistic kind of way to move. It's a very calculated and manipulative kind of way to do things. And it's important that you see the difference between how somebody deals with their frustration versus them just putting something on the side and just not dealing with it and saying, oh, like, oh yeah, I'm going to do it this time, or oh yeah, I'm going to do it next time. Well, I can't do this or I can't do that. Like, just be alert to the things that people say and how they communicate to you and how they deal with their frustration. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but it's just in passing, and you meet people, you learn people, you understand people, and everybody deals with their frustration in different ways. But there are certain people who just take it to the next degree, and I'm not to say that it's right or wrong, but you just see people who are very stagnant, very idle, not taking any steps one way or the other. But if they're comfortable with that, then they're comfortable with that, and it's not anything that you can do to move that person's will or not. At the end of the day, no matter what you're dealing with, no matter what the outside world is going through, like, we all dealing with something right now. We all dealing with corona. We all dealing with aftermath. We all dealing with our own frustrations. But at the end of the day, if that person, that individual, doesn't want to take the necessary steps in order to conquer their frustration or conquer their fear or conquer dealing with their own pain inside, then it's not going to be anything other than what has been before. Like Einstein said, you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to be called insane. So it's up to you to make the right strategies in order to move forward and just better your own environment, better your own world, better your own life. And that's something that I've been taking this time to address in my own self, my own self-worth, my own value, my own ambitions, my own goals. Just really taking time to be with self, because it's just me. It's my isolation. It's where I thrive. I'm a only child. Well, not an only child. I do have a stepsister, but didn't know her until later. But just me growing up, I was an only child. So me being in this solitude is a very great recharge to just set things up and put things in my brain to help understand me. Because I can't do anything for the world if I'm just sitting up here and I don't know how to communicate. I don't know how to comprehend when people are talking to me. I don't know how to be a positive aid to people. I don't know how to do anything that provides value to people. So yeah, with that, that's just dealing with frustration. But kind of segueing next into it is, I guess it's the diary kind of part. It's been a very, I don't want to say overwhelming, just emotionally draining couple of weeks, in the sense that it's time to hibernate, or it's time to recharge, because you get to a certain point, like I just explained, where you got to be able to take care of self. And when you're an aide, or you giving advice or aid to a lot of people, you take on a lot of their fears and their emotions, and trying to understand what they are going through, how people are dealing with things. And even if you just do it by conversation, like, those emotions transfer to people. Emotions, you feel people. That shit takes a toll on you after a certain amount of time. And I'm at that point where it's time to get a hibernation and recharge, because I do that for a lot of people. I don't ask for praise for that. I don't do it because it's giving me light. I just do it because it's what you're supposed to do. It's what I want the world to be around me. What do they always say? Not practice what you preach, but do to the world what you want to be done to you. So that's what I do. But I tell people too, at the same time, that as much as you give out to the world, you got to give that to you too. It's okay for you to be selfish. It's okay for you to take care of you. There is no world unless there is your world first. So yeah, just my own self-reflection, my own looking myself in the mirror, taking my own advice, looking back on my own podcast, and just coming full circle to be efficient and understand that sometimes I just need a break too. Sometimes I just want to say I don't give a fuck too. Sometimes I just want to be the person that just sits there. Sometimes I want people to check on me. Sometimes I want to be just idle. Sometimes I just want to be left alone. Sometimes I don't want to talk. But sometimes, for the most part, like 98% of the time, I always do what's right, or do the right thing, or do the thing that's supposed to be done because it's supposed to be done. But sometimes you just gotta take a break. And you gotta know when to do that. That's situational awareness. Everything comes full circle. Shout out to episode 96, podcast style. Finally getting somewhere with this shit. But yeah, that's it for that. Next up, second to last thing is dealing with the lockdown is coming to an end real soon. There's a lot of shit going on in the world. The aftermath continues. It's really interesting just looking at the trickle effect of the world being shut down, and how many different funnels of money and people and just everything is just fucked up right now. It's another reason why I want to just take a break. It's just to just see where everything falls, see where everything trickles down. People want hope. People want faith. People want money. People want this. People want that. And that kind of leads me to where my thought process has been going, in the sense of just, and why everybody's been fighting. It's the people who want to go back to work versus the people who can't go back to work. It's the people who want to do things for the states versus doing things for the nation. And it's just a whole bunch of bickering and a whole bunch of fighting, and either you on one side on this or one side for that. They want to give you more money, Republicans versus Democrats. It's just always a fucking fight. It's always conflict. It's always this. It's always that. It's the people who aren't recognized. It's the people who aren't seen. It's the people who don't get enough money because you live in Alabama. It's the people in California who don't get enough because they got to pay $8,000 in rent. It's just like, that shit's the overwhelming shit. That's a lot to process. That's a lot to think about. And it's just gonna be really interesting to just to see what's gonna happen in the next 3 to 6 months. I'm interested to see. I want to see what can be taken advantage of. And that's another thing. People with leverage. It's going to be a lot of fallout, and a lot of people going to take advantage of that fallout. Do you fault those people? Like, if somebody get kicked out and you got to get a house, is that bad on you? Are you leveraging the market? Like, I don't know. Like, the moral versus what you got to do. Like, you either get down or lay down out here. Life is cold sometimes, but you gotta keep doing what you gotta do to survive and keep your core cool and keep your family around you cool too. So I don't know. It's just gonna be real interesting to see. This is what's been on my mind. Just thinking about all this shit and seeing just people in general, and they talking about they released video and we got aliens out here now, and it's almost just beyond belief. Like, we really in 2020 and all this shit is happening. Just giving my brain, my emotions, just the time to just be like, oh shit, for a moment. Because sometimes I don't always like being serious and just having to get hindsight on things. Sometimes I just want to sit and just go into the wormhole too, honestly. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. But last but not least, this episode is also dedicated to this man, AHMAUD Arbery. I'm gonna play a little excerpt, is that how you say it, from my boy Big Crit. Shout out to Big Crit. I'm gonna enter that in there. I don't want to say it's a sleeper, but I'll put it at the end. But just another emotionally driven, overwhelming, hurtful, sad issue. I really didn't say anything about it a lot on my social media. It's just, it's the same story. It's not the same story. It's a different story, but it's just the same story of you being hurt and you being struck down, your heart being hurt, especially when you're a black person. I was gonna say black man, but just black person of color, African American, whatever you want to call it. It's a shock to still see it, because we still see violence, we still see all the shit. We got UFC on TV, and it's different, and they had a wasp eating one of them hornet things, and that was pretty violent. But it's a mind fuck, because it's something that is so primitive in America that you still see it going on today. It's very scary. I know I done podcasts about this before. I done podcasts about being black. I've written poems about it. I've done numerous things about it. But this one is just almost to the point where you just tired. You don't even want to see it anymore. You don't want to look at it anymore. And the same thing like I was talking about with people in the United States of America opening back up, and all the different perspectives in that sense. Like, this is the same kind of thing. Like, the people who don't care versus the people who do care, versus the white people who don't understand versus the white people who do understand, but they can't because they're not black, and they still get privilege, and just going down the whole wormhole of just explaining the back and forth, and that's the shit that I'm really just tired of too. But not tired in the sense where I'm not being understanding, and I'm not pushing that narrative too. It's just, when does it have to, when does it stop? When does understanding, where do you get these issues? Because at the end of the day, we always have these killings, we always have these murders, and we always wind up right back where we left off at. And it's like, what do we do? And it's like any other crime. You can't just stop one individual. Like, this is something that has been taught through their generations. And it's just a crazy idea just to even think that still in 2020 that white people still don't like black people because of the color of your skin. It's mind-boggling, and it just sounds stupid to even say it. I personally try to always live in the realm of we're just human beings, but there's also that sense, and it being shout out to Mother's Day, like the things that my mother taught me about being that you are a black man in America, that you are a black person in this world, that you are a black person in Oakland, California, that you are a black person in California. It's just you gotta live different, and I'm probably being biased and unbiased at the same time, but it's like that's the world that I live in, and I'm not gonna sit up here and tell people that they don't understand, because each individual person has their own experience. But on a global scale, the mass scale, they don't understand, because you can't understand what you are not prosecuted with. Is that the right word? I don't know. But you can attempt to get people to understand the gist of it. And that's why people got to do this. And that's why you got to make your information, because you got to just talk about it. You got to put it out there in the world. I don't know. Relatable is the better word. To just be able to relate. You ain't got to understand everything, because nobody is you. It's 7.5 billion different versions of people. Nobody's going to understand you perfectly. Never. I don't care what the fuck you do. If you do that shit they do on upload your mind, like, it's still going to be different. But then in order to understand, we got to communicate more. We got to talk about shit more. And that's the bottom line. You gotta talk more to come to a solution, because we still don't have a solution, because this shit is still going on. It's just stupid to have to continue to keep talking about it. It's stupid that it's still happening in the world. It's stupid that just in general it keeps happening. Usually, like, I don't get as much emotion from it, but it's just tiring. It's hurtful. It's down. It makes me down. It's been a long week with this, and just people in the world, and just sometimes you just need a break, and you just gotta relax, and you just gotta just take it in, and just cry if you gotta cry, just be hurt if you gotta hurt, get something, whatever you need to get through. But the people around it rose up and gave him a very touching celebration of life. It was his birthday too. It just sucks that it has to be so close to Mother's Day. Shout out and salute to him and his family, especially his mother. I know she's going through the toughest of times right now. But the community and the culture stood up for her and her family, and he will just be forever one of those names that we remember because of something stupid. But I don't know. I don't know anymore for that. It's just really hurtful. A lot of heavy shit just going on in the world. We got that. We got coronavirus. We got people dealing with money. It's just a lot of stressors out there in the world. So I'm taking my own advice and doing my own podcast, and just reshuffling, refocusing, taking time for me. But yeah, I hope that he finds a certain amount of peace. I hope that his family finds some sort of, I don't even know what the word is, but I hope that those two men go to jail for the rest of their lives. I hope that his mom just takes it one day at a time, one moment at a time. And I hope that just the world just wakes up soon. I guess you got to go through it to get out of it, because we for damn sure going through it right now. The shades and the perspective of the world that are really seen right now. Just because we in a pandemic doesn't mean that anything is stopping in the world, and that's the fucked up part. That's the scary part to see. We can hope as much as we want. I wrote a quote about that before. Hope is a beautiful blueprint, but you still got to put in the work. And we got to put in the work and continue to be great, continue to do what we've been doing, getting better, growing up, getting this situational awareness up, getting our lives up, getting our love up, getting our money up, getting our culture up, getting our wealth up. And I mean that in a sense, not just the black community, I mean all human beings, I mean everybody. There's a lot of shit that goes on in the world that we just wipe under the floor and do this and do that in other countries, etc. But at the end of the day, it all can just start with you by doing one thing better for the world, for you, for yourself tomorrow. Doing that. I hope this could be an evergreen episode. If not, it is what it is. But on that note, talked about everything that I want to talk about. Up next is going to be the Big Crit speaking, and then there's going to be a sleeper after that. I know it's going to be a weird little segue, but I don't know. I guess we'll just keep it like that. So as always, remember to tell two friends to listen, like, share, subscribe to the One Perspective to Another podcast with your host, A.Sanders. Search my name, search OPTA. Shout out and salute to all our sponsors. Shout out and salute to the world. Happy Mother's Day again to all the mothers out there. We appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you on the flip side.
Big Crit. Mama's been crying and they gonna keep crying. Black folk been dying and they gonna keep dying. The police been firing and they gonna keep firing. The government been lying and they gonna keep lying. Propaganda, news channels, that shit is all for show. Camera phone videos is like all we know. Diluting what the eyewitness might really say, because the whole world saw a murder yesterday. Now your account ain't what it used to be. According to them, your eyes can't adjust to the violence that you used to see. Police brutality is all in your mind, and the tactics that they use only look worse and rewind. People die every day, you should get used to it. Hands behind your back, face down, they still say you shoot. Can't breathe, knee where your neck be, like why you moving. Kids in your car headed home, like what you doing. Like why you chilling, your feelings. Why you smiling when I'm so serious? I hate patrolling your space. Like, why you living? Stop asking questions. Why you filming? You look suspicious. I think you dealing. Step out the car, fit the description. Someone I feel I need to kill it. Blood on the curb, I need to spill it. Another civilian, another not guilty. Another t-shirt, another rap lyric, another life gone. I can't forgive it.
And there you have it. That is Big Crit's spoken word about just what's going on in the world. It's actually like 3 or 4 years old, but it's very prevalent in the world right now. But just had to put that on there. Up next is my sleeper of the week, and it's along the same line, so I hope you enjoy. Catch you on the flip side.
I was running with the set, yeah. Running with the set, yeah. Yeah. We don't never flex, we just rep. Hear me? No. What did you expect? I don't need respect, I'm the threat. Tell them I'm so free, I got no chains on me. I'm so free, I got no chains on me. Nappy head, no shame on me. I'm so free, I got no chains on me. I'm so free, I got no chains on me. I'm so free, I got no chains on me. I'm so free, I got no chains on me. I'm so free, I got no chip running through the right back where I started with it. I've been known since college with it. They hit the club, I hit religion. Jesus, I'll admit it. I just give them liver raps. You just give them instant snaps. Do we need another you do the most. On my side, we revive God through the Wi-Fi. T'Challa partner never colonized, round the high fives for the top God made us dangerous. Aimed to bust flame with dust, every idol bring to us gangs of us trained to trust a name that's blood stained on us, Christ gained us. I was running with the shade, yeah. Running through a chain, yeah, yeah. Real flex, we invest, hear me, yeah. This is what you get, yeah, yeah. I don't need respect, I'm the threat. Tell them I'm so free, I got no chains on me. I'm so free, I got no chains on me. Nappy hair, no shame on me. I'm so free, I got no chains on me. Hear me, I'm so free, I got no chains. Look at my neck, boy, no chains. No shame. Rapper. Yeah, come get your opinion, it don't matter. Money or the faith, I chose a ladder. Ooh, I can see him trying to keep us on the outside now. We pull up and watch them scatter. Running through the wall. Heaven got a playlist. I promise that's my favorite place, man. Faithful lover famous. Yeah, faithful lover famous. New rappers that sure to blow, really drug addicts with a studio. You gotta pop pills on the usual, then that paradise ain't really cool to yo. If your world is really that plain, then why you always high trying to escape? Grand flexing, that's too fake. And them money phones, really money loans, and that real life is you coming home. Empty house in the heart of stone. Bad chick, super savage, cause for a bigger bag, she moving on. Oh yeah, you making moves, but these folks don't really love you. Industry only love dudes that they can use, don't get confused. Interviews that don't tiptoe, go and take them my info. His glory, that's simple. Riding around with that tempo, that's liberal, that's conservative, that's charismatic and reformed too. My wife happy and Jesus love me, ain't nothing left to conform to.